Finding the courage to forgive yourself. Hello, this is Kelara Star Being from healinnerbeing.com. Welcome and thank you for visiting today. This is a very sensitive topic and special message that I hope inspires you and help you to go deeper into self-love and self-healing. We all have something in our past that we are not proud of. Even the most extreme goody two shoe has a secret. No one on this planet has a perfect track record as a human. This has been intentionally created by the false light agenda in order to bind us to feelings of guilt and shame. We usually feel this pressure at a very early age to be a good girl or a good boy. We are programmed to believe that certain behaviors make us worthy or valuable, all while the traps are already set by the false matrix, waiting for us to trip up and fail at some point. Again, the malevolent forces intentionally condition us with false light programming and expectations, only to manipulate us into certain behaviors that forces us to feel guilt and shame. Keep in mind, guilt and shame are their most favorite weapons against humanity. They are extreme low vibrational frequencies that can create self hatred and inner torment. This ultimately prevents us from moving into higher states of consciousness or higher vibrations. Self forgiveness is not only necessary, but it is the only way to truly spiritually ascend and take back your power from the malevolent forces who use guilt and shame as a noose, chains, and bindings around your neck. Even as a Christian, we may accept forgiveness from Jesus, and on the surface, it can be liberating for a while. Yet there is this constant, subtle feeling of owing a debt for Jesus dying on the cross for our sins. Even the style of preaching and teaching is often layered with thick energies of guilt and shame in order to force you to remain obedient to the religious philosophy and also to siphon your energy. There's this constant feeling of guilt and shame we feel for Jesus' sacrifice, whether we want to acknowledge this or not. I remember when the movie Passion of the Christ first came out. Some of my family members and I went to view this movie at the theater. I was a Christian at the time, and I can remember leaving the theater feeling completely devastated and traumatized. As I look back on the experience, I clearly recognize the energy siphoning that took place. I was drained for days as I cried, recounting the harsh abuse of Jesus in the movie. I can also remember feeling depressed for several weeks after viewing that movie, Though I was grateful for the sacrifice I believe that Jesus made for me, I also felt deep guilt and shame, feeling a sense of responsibility for his undeserving abuse on my behalf. This is just one example, just one, of how guilt and shame is used against the collective consciousness to keep us bound to low vibrational frequencies. Finding the courage to forgive yourself can span across all areas of life. It could be something as simple as feeling regret for not going to college, feeling remorse for being a rebellious child, or getting pregnant at an early age, or simply not living up to the expectations of the people in your life. When we allow guilt and shame to plague our spirit, it causes self resentment, self hatred, and other low vibrational frequencies that works against our soul's evolution. It in fact creates soul fragments as we begin to disengage from our own inner being. No matter what you may have done to create a disconnect from your soul, you are the only being who can begin the restoration process. You must begin the process of reconnecting to your higher self, to the Most High God, by first forgiving yourself from any infractions, and you must begin the process of releasing all guilt and shame. Not by making excuses for your actions, but by accepting responsibility for what you have done. Once we do this, we can gain insight, wisdom, and understanding that allows us to transcend the experiences. You are the only being who can accomplish this for you. You must take the first steps to soul recovery through releasing guilt and shame and choosing to forgive yourself. Self forgiveness not only begins the process of reconnecting you to your higher consciousness or your highest being, but it also begins the process of restoring your connection to the Most High God. There are many on the planet who are responsible for some of the most heinous crimes against humanity and against the Most High God. Some have continuously chosen to perform these heinous crimes without ceasing. These beings may feel like they are at a point of no return, where they can never receive forgiveness or that they can never forgive themselves. As someone who would never pretend to know the consciousness of the Source Creator, I cannot honestly say there is no restoration for the souls of these beings. However, at some point in their existence, they will need to face themselves in order to find the path to their own soul's evolution or ultimately their complete dissolution. Ultimately, the path that leads away from destruction begins within ourselves. Thank you for listening to this message. I hope you feel inspired to go within and to seek the counsel of your highest self and the divine forces to guide you through the healing and transformation of your soul. If you vibe with my frequency, if you resonate with this message, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe. I also invite you to visit my website at healinnerbeing.com. There you'll find information about me, how to connect with me, and also the services I provide. Okay, that's it for now. I hope to connect with you again in the next message. Wishing you peace and harmony. Bye for now.